3 games left, sorry, bro, it ain't happening. Likewise, if you're 1-5 with that many games left, you really can't take another loss, especially because now you wouldn't even be tied with anybody. You'd be on the bottom. Taking a look at the picks and the bans here. Double Jungles banned out by LNG, so they can pick up their jungler of choice. They will go with the Viego, so another reset comp coming up, but this time the resets are in the jungle instead of an AD carry.
Yeah, classic Xiaofang pick here in the Viego. Really something that he feels comfortable on. Probably the champion I most associate with him as a player from his time in the LPL. Makes a lot of sense for him to feel comfortable to pick it, but you know, we've seen a lot of these teams push back their bot lane picks for early. Lucian not been able to get through the second phase of the draft. Ultra Prime not going to take that risk. Going into game number 3, they're going to pick up the Lucian. You know, Braum is off the board. It's very likely we're going to see something like Nami come out as well in this first rotation, but we'll have to see if they want to save that for the 3rd pick likely and what they might want to pick up here. But I think this is a huge pick. Lucian is gigantic for both of these AD carry players. They both really prioritize it heavily, and I think making sure to get it early is a big deal. And it's John going over to the Cassante, another thing that he's played quite a bit and had a lot of success on, especially last year in the PCS.
Let's see what they're going to surround this Viego with. We already saw the Senna hover. I would think that's a pretty good selection here, given the fact that Fish 1, listen, you got to just you put the utility in the bag, bro. You cannot be trusted with a carry at this point. We're going to see a Nautilus come in. I think this is good. You allow this Nautilus to roam around if you elect to go and play something like this Senna. And I just think that if you wait to the second half, Fish One's going to get some AD carries banned out and is going to be in a really uncomfortable spot.
Yeah, you need to start, I think you need to lock this in quick, because I think if you let a lot of the AD carry options go through, you're starting to feel the pressure, and Jhin is the obvious answer. I don't think this was ever going to be anything else with the draft that they had set up around it, and everything we talked about with him needing to be on something more facilitative. This just felt like the insta-lock here is the answer to Lucian, and they end up going for it. But again, it opens up the opportunity for Ultra Prime to perhaps play a little bit less lane dominant if they really want to. We don't often see Lucian paired up with a lot of these other engaged supports anymore, but certainly could still be an option if they wanted to go for it here.
I hope they lock it in. I think this is really good. This is a combo that is really underrated. I think a lot of people forget that Lucian's Light Slinger passive will stack when CC is applied within 1,000 units. Play a lot of Lucian. So immediately you get 2. So if Leona hits Zenith Blade, that's 2. You store up to 4 empowered auto attacks. So when you land the Q, you have your next 4 auto attacks are empowered. Dash forward, double shot, Q, double shot. There's your 4. It's a big amount of burst damage. It will kill anybody, including a Nautilus in the early game.
Definitely have to be scared of that. That is certainly a threat, and we know that Baiye can play these 2v2s pretty strong, so definitely want to be watching out for that early 2v2. It's a really great explanation there, Yanni. But we do see some bans coming out as well, the Galio being the first ban from Ultra Prime, wanting to take away more macro options coming out of the mid lane. I think that's really been the priority for both of these teams, things like Ryze and Taliyah, you know, finding so much prevalence, and now with them off the board, Galio, of course, being the next main one, but it's another wombo combo type of mid laner with the Orianna coming off the board. This could perhaps de-incentivize, you know, more aggressive top lane picks as well, because you might need to go for something a bit more aggressive onto Haichao in the mid lane with some of the safer options taken off the board. But Lee Sin and Victor going to be the answers. We'll see whether Saber wants to lock in here and leave that counter pick for top side, or whether, for jungle, I should say, or whether this will be Junhao.
I think I'm pretty okay with the Jarvan here. Lots of disruption. You get to really hop onto this Jhin and cause a lot of problems. I'm really interested to see what Haichao is going to pick in the mid lane here. Obviously, you know, doesn't necessarily need to be now, but when really looking at the champions that he plays, not really too many supportive champions, not really a lot of champions that are available, right? You really want to be able to support this Viego. You see this Poppy get locked in, going to be doing well to really shut down multiple members of Ultra Prime. Pretty much everybody can be affected by this Poppy.
Yeah, Poppy is a favorite of mine, a champion I think you can drag and drop into almost any comp in the game right now, but specifically into Jarvan. This is incredibly strong, and the Sylas is also going to be the takeaway. There are some ultimates to steal on the other side. It is worth noting this is a blind Sylas, so certainly an aggressive call here being made by Haichao, but as we said, I expected an aggressive mid laner to come out after some of the other bans that were taken away once things like Galio, Orianna were off the board. We'll see if Saber with that, classic assassin playstyle ends up matching.
Return to your roots.
And he will. The Akali is going to get locked in Game 3. I am super excited for this matchup in the mid lane. I think there's a ton to like about both of these comps, and honestly, I'm really just excited to see how it plays out because both of them are really good at the same time. They both want to get advantages early. Neither of them really want to be in a bad spot. You've got Zika on something that can be a big, a threat in teamfights to shut things down, and I think that opens up opportunities for him to even be more involved in the rest of the team. So much to like here. I think if I had to favor a draft, I would favor LNG here. I think they should have pressure in some of their lanes individually. Sylas I think is fine into Akali. Generally speaking, Poppy should be able to shut down the Jarvan pressure early, and especially Cassante is going to have trouble there. But Ultra Prime have more than enough tools, especially with their players, to make this work.
Yeah, the problem is they have to really deal with two threats here in this Sylas and in this Viego. Either one of them can take over a fight. A Sylas with an Akali ultimate is really scary, but any other ultimate, aside from like Lucian calling, is going to be really valuable on Haichao. And Haichao's last game that he played on Sylas in the last series that he played it into a Yone. Had a really good time in the laning phase. It was a little rough early, but he was able to hang on to those early levels and really get a lot of advantages. I'm looking to see him do somewhat the same, at least just be able to hang on, be able to maintain good CS, and then use your strength later on. Use this Kingslayer, this W ability that is so frustrating to play against. One of the most powerful single abilities in the game, to be quite honest with you. You just heal so much off of it. And, you can carry, you can really support your Viego, depending on the ultimates that you steal with the rest of this team. I really like what they've put together. Let's see if Ultra Prime can go and contest that, rise to the challenge, and take the dub.
As we look at our level 1 setups here, doesn't seem to be anything particularly crazy happening. Bit of a difficult level 1 for both of these teams. You got to be weary of Nautilus, and especially Nautilus Sylas in the early part of the game if they do want to link up. But as our lower third has so appropriately thrown up, OVO suffering his first loss in the LPL in game number 2. I guess this is our first chance. It's our first chance to see how OVO responds to perhaps being put on the back foot.
Yeah, some adversity.
Some adversity that has come his way.
Think about. He's like, I've never lost before. I don't know how to handle this. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I do find it quite interesting that he's opted into the Ignite with the spellbook as opposed to a more defensive summoner spell to try to survive the early goings. This leads me to believe that it looked to be a little bit more aggressive. There aren't really a ton of members on the side of Ultra Prime that you're like, yes, you must Ignite them, for they will heal forever. So I just find that selection a little strange. If you're not going to use it to get aggressive, then I know we're going to use it for, but I think Xiaoxia is going to be the one with the aggression, as Baiye is totally free to just auto-attack away, land that Q. Look at this damage, baby. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to touch the Lucian, he's just going to keep hitting you. That's going to be a bit of a problem. So, OVO not really landing a lot of priority CC early on here. Fish1 obviously not able to deal with the Lucian damage. 2v2 should be relatively difficult to punish, but again, mistakes can happen.
There's that Ignite. All right, let's see. It's a level 2 hit first, but all right, just got to wait it out a little bit. Looks like Xiaoxia and Baiye trying to get out. Boom, Baiye got hooked up against the wall. And he takes a lot of damage. It was a 4th shot. They're going to try to turn it on to OVO. The flash forward, the double shot. Oh, it's not enough. And he will fall to the Jhin. And they'll look to turn it around. Xiaoxia's going to get rooted too. Another 4th shot connects. Xiaoxia able to get under the turret and walk away. But it's first blood for Fish1.
It's a nightmare for Ultra Prime. I don't know what they were doing. They were posturing so aggressively. Once Xiaoxia ends up flashing out, he postures as if maybe he wants to go back in. It's a crazy decision for Ultra Prime, but they get really punished for it. It's very well played by OVO and Fish1 to understand exactly how much damage they have with those 4th shots coming out, but that's a big swing for LNG. We talked about Fish1 needing to step up. Getting an early kill in this game might be the thing he needs to do so.
Yeah, that's what I call Lucianitis, when you think you're a little bit stronger than you actually are. Honestly, Baiye just egoed and didn't flash the Nautilus hook. And as soon as he got hit by that, you knew he was cooked. Junhao was able to get in and steal away this blue buff because of that. Or sorry, take away his blue buff and make sure that he's in a pretty good spot here. Level 4 right now, looking to at least help out his bot lane. But Xiaofang is going to get here first. XiaoXia dodging out on a potential route, but it doesn't look like we're going to see anything actually done here other than the jungler showing up on the bottom side and saying, hey, what's up?
Now, worth noting that Baiye does have the level advantage here if they do want to go for a 3v3. Could be a slight thing that's in favor of Ultra Prime, but instead it's just LNG taking the crab, posturing aggressively, and backing off. The wave will get shoved in for that play, but overall, definitely worth it here for LNG. And once again, it's just controlling the map. It's doing a good job of making sure that it's not just the bot lane in a good spot. You're okay sacrificing a few resources on Jhin to get Viego a bit more control. And Xiaofang will make his way to the top side. This is very likely a double crab and a big success for Viego.
Yep, very good stuff. When you don't get disrupted early on, you're in a great spot. See Haichao and Saber go at it for a little bit. Haichao will take some damage, but still has that teleport in the back pocket. Looks like he'll use it very soon. Junhao headed up to the top side here. Just a ward put down to make sure that Zika is in a good enough spot. And so far, so good for LNG early on, Kman.
Definitely what you want to see. Pretty clinical in the early game, but still very, very early. We're not even at the 5-minute mark. Dragon has not yet spawned, and so still a lot of game left to be played. Certainly not over by any stretch of the imagination. Solution's going to be in a bit more of a tough spot, but the CS is relatively even in that lane, so you're not entirely concerned about the Lucian just being entirely out of it. Again, almost a half a level up. I guess actually a half a level up on Fish 1 here, as he's almost halfway to level 5. But we will see Zhang looking for a trade on the top side. Has lost quite a bit of his health. This is a very Poppy-favored lane, so it makes a lot of sense that Zika is in control of it right now. We'll see how he pushes it forward, though.
Yeah, and, you know, if he's not going to go full damage, then, you know, obviously you should never go full damage as Poppy if you're playing competitively. But this does mean it's mostly a nothing burger up there. We are going to see XiaoXia and Baiye, again, with their prowess of being able to push in, start up this dragon. Xiaofang is going to use his miss to at least make Ultra Prime think twice, but has no intention of trying to stop this dragon.
Yeah, it's a good call here from Ultra Prime. If you can get the dragon for free, you might as well get the dragon for free. Really not a lot to dislike about that. It will interrupt Junhao's clear at least a little bit. He is on the back foot in terms of CS, down about 12 now, but outside of that, this is a nice success. Ultra Prime being able to pick up at least some, you know, sort of stats across the map. See if they can continue to stack those. Soul has been very easy to acquire throughout this series, despite the late dragon take in game number 2. So see if that continues on pace for game 3. Haichao hitting level 6 alongside Saber. Solo laners are going to be in a position to fight if necessary.
Yeah, and, you know, look at Haichao. Up a little bit of CS. It's not a crazy amount, but a solid amount. This is exactly what we saw the last time he was on Sylas. So good on him, you know, and it just means that LNG's carries are in such a good spot right now. No disruption for the Viego. The Sylas is doing fine. I mean, your 80 carry is in a lane that you would expect to lose. He's up 400 gold. I mean, this is a really fantastic start. It cannot be understated.
I agree. It's certainly a good look for LNG, but it's all really going to come down to who ends up getting the gold in the skirmishes. We've seen, you know, positioning mistakes come back to bite these teams in the past. Nothing is safe in Group Nirvana. I know I keep repeating the point, but I think it's worth repeating. So we will see a bit of a trade here going in favor of Saber. Teleport coming into the mid lane, coming in from XiaoXia. This shows me that they are ready to invest into some vision and some setups around grubs, which are spawning in under a minute. And it looks like it will be both sides, but both AD carries staying on the bot side of the map, at least for now. It will be very delayed for them to be able to get up there. We'll see who ends up wanting to make the first move. We see more trading on the top side, but overall, a pretty regular setup, all things considered, for two teams that have been known to have a bit more aggression than this.
Yeah, and I think if I'm LNG, I think I'm okay totally giving these grubs up, right? Just do whatever you can to make sure that Xiaofang does not get interrupted. Looks like he's going to lose out on his chickens here. Kind of sucks, but you know what? It is what it is. Such is life when you don't have the mid-pressure for it, but you know, I don't think they're in really any position that they should want to fight. I mean, with Haichao having a catalyst here, that ain't a rod of ages. That ain't gonna be enough. So we will see pings go down onto the grub. So you know, maybe LNG just says, you know what, we're feeling good, we should fight. Haichao does have that Akali ultimate to steal. OVO is the one who gets engaged on.
Oh,
All three members hop on top, but Haichao looking to do some assassin work here. Saber going to dash out, but Haichao in hot pursuit down to about half HP. But Xiaofang really couldn't do anything in that fight.
Yeah, if the Viego was a little bit closer, perhaps that ends up being, a bit of a win for LNG, but they're feeling confident because of that gold lead, because of that CS lead that Viego ends up having. They feel like they can take this fight, and actually it does end up going their way. They completely push Ultra Prime off of these grubs. It will be Xiaofang who ends up starting them up. It looks like it will just be all three going in favor of LNG. That is a very big win. Not only are they winning in terms of their lanes, but they don't even need to send Jim outside of the bot lane and sacrifice some CS in order to grab these grubs. It's a very big success for them.
Yeah, and I mean, Viego's not even at really a strong point in this game yet. He's not even on his first item. I would definitely say that, Jarvan is a more useful champion at this point in time, but OVO did a good job there of knocking out multiple members to make sure that he survived the initial burst damage.
Hard to burst down a Nautilus. Difficult proposition even this early into the game. Difficult to really punish that as heavily as maybe you would want to. Saber with the teleport back into the mid lane to catch this wave. But once again, look at all of the blue down on the scoreboard in terms of these gold leads. I know they're not big gold leads, but it's certainly worth noting that right now LNG does have priority over the map, and it's all really about what they want to do with it. Xiaofang will get spotted out here, but he sees the crab being taken. This could be a rough spot.
And he wants it real bad. He is really going after it. Nice job there on the Zenith blade. Xiaofang's going to flash away. Baiye from behind on a flank here. Cataclysm's good. There's the culling. Xiaofang trying to stay alive, but he will not survive. And Baiye wants the other kill. Instead, the Jarvan will take it, and they'll try to turn around on the other side. But LNG's got to run scared.
It's a very big mistake from LNG. Just over-aggression. Just a lack of respect coming in from Xiaofang. Haichao?
It was all for a crab. Why are we going all in for the crab?
Yeah, it's not good. It's really not a good look for LNG. They just threw their entire lead, and I think specifically it's Baiye who does a great job of positioning here. They just don't understand or respect the fact that Lucian can join this fight. The engage comes out from XiaoXia. They try and disengage it, and they do catch the Jarvan, which is actually really nice overall, but Baiye on this flank, Cataclysm coming out just makes this impossible. Fishone trying to block as much damage as possible here, but he's getting chunked out in this entire exchange, and so it ends up just being 2 free kills for Ultra Prime. Meanwhile, they're winning on the top side as well. It's so much going in favor of Ultra Prime. That completely swings the game back into their favor, and that lead we were even talking about for the Viego is now just completely gone.
Yeah, and so many teams, especially down in Group Nirvana, have a lot of problems with keeping games stable and playing to their win conditions. And LNG's win condition was, do not let the Jarvan make any sort of impact early. Do not let the Lucian take over the game early. And you know what's happening. Now Lucian's ahead. Oh, it's just a little bit, but he's still ahead. Junhao has finally made his mark on this game. And this second dragon could be all Ultra Primes as we just check into the top lane. They're both having a grand old time up there, Kman.
Yeah, Poppy Cassante. Not too much to talk about, but Xiaofang's going to try and make it a bit more interesting as he makes his way up here. He's going to stay out of vision.
Zhang just knew. Bro had the sixth sense. There was no vision. He just said, you know what? This is a good time for Viego to kill me. And he'll walk it all the way back to his turret.
And he's completely right. With Dragon being started on the bot side and no contest happening, it's clear that this play is being made, and LNG are sending quite a few people to make it happen.
Yeah, they're sending the Goon Squad. They're going to lose the Dragon for it. No root can happen. Here comes the curtain call. It's slammed up against the wall. Hook's there too. And they'll give that one over to Viego. But they respond in kind to Haichao. He's gone too.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a play for LNG. Quite similar to the one we saw earlier in this series where, of course, Ultra Prime ended up committing a lot on the top side and gave up Dragon. This time it's not soul point, so it's not quite as detrimental for LNG to give it up. But overall, it's a 1-for-1 and they lose Dragon. Not a great play for them, but they're going to try and rush down this tower. If they can pick up that first tower, it's actually a pretty big win for them.
Yeah, they have 3 grubs. And it looks like they could have full committed to it. They elected not to. Pretty reasonable given the fact that Junhao is there, and they will actually end up getting it with a dot. So very good stuff there by LNG. At least good map responses there. It's a little tough to lose Haichao, but 13 minutes into the game, given the fact that you were kind of in a bad spot, this series of plays wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I think it's really important to grab that first tower to at least keep feats alive for LNG moving forward and to give them the option. It's not looking good for them, but certainly could still be on the table if they end up winning a couple of fights moving forward. We do see the Viego pathing down onto the bot side. Haichao getting a little bit more cover than maybe he got a few minutes ago. See if a play on Saber wants to be made or if this is just going to be an invade coming in from Xiaofang. Does look like it's just going to be a bit of a vertical swap here as Viego tries to get as much as he can. Saber will spot him out, though.
Yep, like good use of the sweeper, just to be like, I have a feeling that somebody's over here. I'll just go clear out that ward as LNG will congregate in this tribe rush, but Saber really not going to give up an inch here. So both of these teams playing incredibly careful right now. A stark contrast to the first two games came in.
This is your classic Game 3 playstyle of,
Yes.
all right, well, we threw everything at the wall and now we don't want to lose, so
Okay, Haichao is no longer
can get
careful.
out.
He is no longer careful. He will be able to dash out with the stolen Akali ultimate. A nice job there, but shouldn't really have put himself in that spot.
Yeah, it does force the ult to be burned, but really not too bad. It did pull quite a bit of attention coming down onto the bot side. It doesn't look like they're able to punish that in any way, shape, or form, so, you know, overly, not overly consequential towards the game as a whole, but you're right. Does burn at least a resource coming in from Haichao in the mid lane, and it does look like it might be the opposite of what we got in Game 2. Saber was, you know, kind of eating a lot of that pressure for Ultra Prime in that second game to open up the map for Baiye and Junhao. It might be Haichao who is under a lot more pressure in this game, number 3 on the Silas. We will see how that ends up moving going forward, but, you know, objective spawning soon. Rift Herald in 20 seconds. That's going to be the next major thing up on the map as Baiye makes his way up. We do see Junhao on the top side as well.
And Haichao will have teleport available for this. His flash is going to be up as well, so he might be able to make an impact in one of these next fights if he's able to steal a Leon ultimate or something like that. Saber would be able to match, so we'll see what happens. He's going to take his first, or he's going to take a recall here. We'll see where he deploys. Looks like he's going to deploy toward, okay. It looked like he was heading mid. He'll go bot here instead to match, so looks like we'll be seeing teleport plays. Multiple members of Ultra Prime up on this top side looking to group up together as they're going to run straight to LNG.
Yeah, worth noting here that Haichao is not level 11, whereas Saber is if teleport plays end up happening, if there is a fight around this Herald. We will see, right now it's just LNG wanting to make sure that they're not caught out of position to be able to catch this, so it's just vision control, but Haichao given a couple of extra moments to be able to shove this wave in. Both towers are killable on the bottom side of the map if either mid laner ends up being a little less proactive than that. So again, we will just see how this ends up going. Haichao catching this wave will get him to level 11. That gives the confidence for LNG to pull the trigger, and they are going to start up the Herald here as Zika makes his way down.
Xiaofang is a level down, has a lower smite, but Junhao said, you know what, I don't really want any part of this. They'll head down and look to set up 45 seconds until their soul point dragon, or get themselves a third dragon, I should say. As Saber continues to push on the bottom side, Haichao spots out the pilfering of Xiaofang's jungle. As Junhao wants to stay in here. He is going to get rooted up. We do see, speaking of roots, over on the other side, Xiaofang getting 2v1'd by the bot lane. Saber teleports in. Wants a piece of OVO, but won't be able to get it now. Ultra Prime in a great position to secure this dragon in 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's a really nice setup for Ultra Prime. It looked like Junhao might be a little bit overextended, but his team is there to back him up. That's the coordination you need to see out of Ultra Prime, and you're absolutely right. This dragon spawning in 10 seconds is going to be controlled by Ultra Prime and whether or not they want to try and force this down. Baiye, of course, going to look to shove in the mid-wave here to make sure this is as difficult as possible to contest for LNG, but not only would this be soul point for Ultra Prime, this would be the feats, so, you know, a pretty big contest here as Herald is dropped.
This is the first time we're going to see Poppy join a fight here, get right on top of Baiye, just force him out while you try to get any sort of presence here in the mid lane. And second teleport, it's going to be Haichao coming in from the base, 7,000 HP on this dragon. Looks like Ultra Prime are going to look to potentially reposition here. Herald crashes into the mid wave. Baiye will take care of that. They'll look to regroup with Ultra Prime as the dragon resets.
They're looking to set a trap here. Ultra Prime do not want to walk up. They could be in a bad position.
Still no vision there. See the Viego cloak getting put down as LNG look to walk in. They find the hook on the Jarvan. They're going to look to blow him up. They throw everything they have at him, and they take him down. But guess what? Yeah, got plenty of damage with Saber and Baiye, and they're looking to hunt down these members of LNG. Will XiaoXia be able to catch anyone? Saber dashing in. Wants to just squeeze out a little bit more, unable to do so. It's a jungler for support trade.
Yeah, they were looking for that Jarvan. Once that hook landed, they were putting everything they had into making sure that he was down. Dragon is not an option with that jungler off the map, but unfortunately OVO is just not tanky enough to really be able to survive this. The moment LNG full engage, they get bursted down by a really nice combo of events coming in from XiaoXia and Saber. So really interested to see how that ends up, you know, affecting the map as a whole now that we essentially just reset and do it again. But again, really nice hook from OVO. We praised his ability to look for these plays on the map, and they found it here. But look at that combo coming in to line everybody up on LNG. Very well done. Luckily for LNG, they're able to get out, but we head back to live, and we've already got some action going on.
Yeah, but this Dragon down to less than 7,000 HP. Xiaofang has to get in there, try to swipe this one away. 2,000, 1,000, no shot, and that will be the third Dragon going over to Ultra Prime as they will walk away.
It is often the team that makes the first decision that ends up benefiting the most from it. Xiaofang attempts to at least push Zhang out of the jungle here, but that's sole point for Ultra Prime, and maybe they're gonna try and punish this, but this is a very dangerous look for both of these teams.
Yeah, this could determine a lot in this game. Zika's gonna slam Saber up into the wall. They really want this turret. They only have the little grubbies to try and help him out, as Baiye will continue to just hang out in the mid lane, have a good time. The 80 carry dream, as he's gonna look to hit this turret, and nobody's really gonna answer him.
Yeah, it looks like LNG are in the area, but with him shading to that top side, he's going to be just fine here. The play in the bot side's not even over.
All right, turret goes down. Here we go. They're going to get on to Fish 1 here. Fish 1 in a lot of trouble as Saber gets to the back line and takes him out. They're going to turn on to Zika next and look for him as Jong and Saber will get the job done there too. OVO over on the side is OV out of time as he goes down too. Ultra Prime busts this game wide open.
Oh, and that is just... Oh, it's quite bad, but Haichao...
Oh, the calling! Oh, the minions!
The calling! Ugh. Almost something pulled back there for LNG with Haichao, but alas, it ends up being a disaster for them in that fight. Unfortunately for them, they just set a new world record for the most killable Jhin I have ever seen in terms of that setup. Not a Peel member of the team in sight. He's pushed forward by the Leona ultimate, and as everyone is knocked up, he is separated entirely from the team. His Poppy and Nautilus watching him as he disintegrates into thin air, and at this point, there's no damage coming out. It's a free win for Ultra Prime. Very difficult to end up playing this out, and that's a huge win for Ultra Prime. They already had full control of the entire map, but this gives them full combat pressure as well, with all the kills going on to some priority targets. This Akali, now sitting on 3 kills, is going to start to get accelerated 7 stacks of the Dark Seal on that champion, so... You know, it ends up being a really big win for Ultra Prime, and it exponentially increases their control over the game.
Yeah, it is very tough, and this is what happens. You know, you go and you send Haichao to go deal with Baiye in the mid lane instead of opting into maybe a 5v4 downstairs, right, where you can really turn that fight, and it's okay to just give Lucian the CS, and even if he wants the turret, as long as that fight goes well for you. It would have been a pretty big risk, but, I mean, now LNG is very far behind at this point. This Viego has had trouble getting going. You know, it's like starting up that old truck in the winter time. It's not turning over. You and I know about that over on the East Coast. It'll be cold in the winter, but like, man, it is so tough to watch this game, especially with the way that LNG had been quite a bit more proactive in the first 2 games, for better or for worse in that second one. And this game looks like all that proactivity has been washed away.
Yeah, it is definitely a disappointing showcase, I would say, all things considered, especially because Xiaofang in particular has a ridiculously good win rate on Viego. This has really been his champion over the course of his pro career, so this kind of was his ace in the hole in this series, and it's not really working out. We're going to need to see him start to really push forward in these fights. If you can't get resets for Viego at this point, these fights are going to get even more difficult. Haichao in danger once again.
Yeah. He's going to find out real quick. All right, never mind. He's not going to find out anything. He's okay, everybody. He's okay. Kind of surprised they just let the man walk out like that. But honestly, Ultra Prime, they don't really have to do anything right now except for wait for 1 more minute for this Chemtech Soul. LNG has failed to stop them 3 times before. Will 4th time be the charm, Kman?
You know, it's been for Drake Soul in the first 2 games. We will see how that ends up working out here. 23 minutes, 45 seconds on this Chem Soul. This might be the backbreaker for LNG, and I think the concern for me, you know, the lack of combat pressure there. But as I stated before, 13-3 in his career on Viego. Not only is this one of his most played champions, but he has been incredibly successful despite the fact that he's not, you know, been on great teams. It is his most played champion throughout his entire career. So going to be relying on him as we see the push coming in mid lane from Ultra Prime as they send their attention to the Drake.
13-4 looms. Kman is, I don't really know if Xiaofang can make enough hero plays here. I just don't think LNG has the damage to be able to cut through Jiang, to cut through XiaoXia. You know, these guys, you've got the Mosquito Jin builds, and you've got, you know, stay alive for a long time. Your mid laner here is...
This dragon is
here
gone.
We go. Current call coming out. Xiaofang's got to get in there. He stole it away. He stole it away, and he escapes. And they're going to be able to find Saber on the backside. Oh my goodness, they proved me wrong. Here we go. They're looking for more. Baiye's got to fade away with the calling over on the backside. Fish one trying to get back to the rest of his team here, as now they're going to look to potentially turn it around. Big Root comes out. Big disruption as they manage to find the Jarvan.
No
escapes.
way.
The all-out is
Jung.
there. XiaoXia looking to get in. They're looking to kill some priority targets. Another big kill there. It's a double kill for Jung as Zika tried to do what he could, but really couldn't do much else. And guess what? Junhao was going to follow him too, and he's just going to auto him down. Is he going to kill him? Absolutely not, but he will be able to drive the Poppy off. Somehow, some way, Ultra Prime ended up winning that fight.
I mean, so much to talk about in terms of how that exchange went down. I mean, from the steal to the subsequent fight, it looked so good for LNG. Not only were they able to pick up the dragon, obviously, but they were able to get Xiaofang out, and they were able to fight over the rest of it 5v5, which was huge for them. Unfortunately, I think this K'Sante is starting to get online, and that spells disaster for LNG moving forward if they cannot kill Jung. But we're going to get a replay of this. I'm not even sure how Xiaofang got into the pit. We're going to have to see this, because I thought this was a goner. He ends up getting ignited at the start of this, but XiaoXia, yeah, I think he just flashes over the wall. XiaoXia attempting to try and make this as much of a difficult play as possible, but Xiaofang making it happen, getting out. That's the Viego experience that we know, and they blow up the Akali, and that is so much of the damage coming in from the side of Ultra Prime as well. Baiye is even forced out, but they forgot about K'Sante, and at this point in the game, Zhang is very scary, and he's just hitting on the backline here. Junhao with some great setups. Even 2v4, you cannot take out these two champions. They are just too strong, and we saw that really become a problem. If Zhang can continue to be an issue in these fights, it's going to get even worse, but even in a worst case scenario where you lose that dragon and have a fight that's more up in the air, you still have full control of this Baron, and Otacon's on top side as well.
Here we go. Culling getting put down here, not doing a whole lot of damage, just driving off LNG as Ultra Prime have complete vision control of this top side, aside from the Scuttle Crabs, and it looks like they will start up the Otacon. Does Xiaofang have another one in him?
We will see. He's going to be making his way up here.
You have Poppy ultimate to knock away the jungler here. He's going to charge it up and completely whiff. All right, Xiaofang, what do you got? Looking to drive multiple members back here. They're going to turn onto Jiang here. Junhao gets to the back line, looking to just chase off this Jin. Guess what? You got big damage coming through. Haichao landing a big stun. He wants in. Baiye's low. They got to get to him. Fourth shot from the Jin. Takes him out. Saber manages to get on a priority target. Haichao off of the side trying to stay alive. They get on to Saber. They kill him. Haichao. God damn. Kingslayer's the most OP ability in the game. Somehow LNG win the fight, and they're going to take the Otacon too, Kman.
Oh, Yanni, it's throw after throw after throw for both of these teams. How could you possibly ask for anything else? LNG comes up with a huge win there. Ultra Prime make the catastrophic decision to look at a Viego that can't get into this contest at all and peel completely off the Otacon to go for the fight, and they get burned for making that call. Junhao full engages, and we're going to get a really good look of this. This Otacon is gone. It's at 3.5k. There is no reason to ever exchange a fight here. Junhao full goes in, and there's no way to win at this point. Jin is able to get out of harm's way, and open up the curtains, and at this point, it's free firing on the backline. Zika is very difficult to deal with. Xiaofang starts getting those resets. Even Saber's damage coming through. He lost all those stacks on the Dark Seal, dying in the previous fight. The damage isn't there. Haichao healing, as you said, off the Kingslayer, just enough to be able to survive, and it's a huge win, and just as we thought this game was looking unwinnable for LNG, they pull it back in their favor.
Winnable!
Everything's winnable. Everything's
winnable in Nirvana. Yep, you got it, bud. Everything is winnable in Nirvana. You couldn't have said it any better, my friend. So we're going to see Fish 1, an instant cleanse here. See who will be able to survive as Ultra Prime all of a sudden playing with what feels like a little bit more urgency. 30 seconds until this dragon. All right, Kman. Does Xiaofang have another one in him?
Does he? Because the setup here is tough. This is still Soul for Ultra Prime if they are able to land it, and they are positioning aggressively. You can see Haichao looking for a flank angle, but Saber is going to spot him out, so not going to be quite as easy. But Saber's late to this play if they end up taking this.
Oh, tried to turn it around on the Saber potentially? No, he's got no idea that Saber's there, I don't think. Yeah, there's no pings whatsoever. I have no idea where Saber's at, bro. This is crazy. See a lot of pings going down over on the Ultra Prime side of the map. Ultra Prime giving way here a little bit. Giving away a little bit of vision as the dragon has been started up. Saber has finally been spotted out as Haichao
looking for Fish 1.
Him down. Guess what? Fish 1 not in trouble, but Saber will be able to find OVO. Here comes the curtain call, but guess what? It's a disaster of a fight. They've lost so many members. It's now a 5v3. It was clinical by Ultra Prime.
Yeah, really great setup from them. The fight's not even over. Zhang still taking some damage here, but again, as the Cassante, he's in such a good spot to be able to pressure them out. That is Soul going over to Ultra Prime, and again, it's throw after throw. It's a tough setup for LNG to be able to get into the pit, but the flank from Saber makes it impossible. Teleport coming in.
Yeah, so good here by Ultra Prime, and I love the tempo they're trying to keep up here. Forcing the flash out of Fish 1-2 means that there's no way this Jhin can get close. This Baron has been started up, and remember that sense of urgency that we said that Ultra Prime, it just felt a little bit different after they lost that Otacon. Like they turned it up to 11, and they've put boot on the throat of LNG right now. Zika trying to do whatever he can, but it won't amount to damn much at all, as the Baron will go the way of Ultra Prime.
Oh my goodness, Yanni. The gold graph at the end of this game is going to be an absolute eyesore to look at, but oh, Haichao does not get his teleport interrupted. He is going to be able to get out of there. It looked like he was going to get stopped, but nothing for the Akali to do. Yeah, that's true. Nothing for the Akali to do there. No back, just a teleport coming in. So, you know, good stuff from Haichao to be able to get out of that situation, but what a game. What a game so far. So much to talk about. Saber, I think, has actually come up really clutch on this Akali in a couple of really big moments, especially on that flank, but it's a 5-kill Akali, 1.5k gold up. You know, really, really solid performance from him after dying first in that pivotal fight. So we will see now what Ultra Prime can do with both Baron and Chemsoul. This should be their map to control, but once again, no lead is safe in Group Nirvana. I don't care about Baron. I don't care about Soul. Anything can happen. We will see what Ultra Prime is capable of doing, but it's on LNG now to swing the pendulum back in their favor.
I love that you shouted out Saber. Remember, we were talking about a return to form, playing some of these assassins that he's been a little bit more well-known for and kind of made his name. Having a really, really good game on this Akali. Yeah, you know, that flank doesn't really show up on the stat sheet, but was so integral into the Soul being secured this time around. He's shoving out a wave on the bottom side here. They're going to take down this bots here too as the gold spills into the pockets of Ultra Prime. Now up about 600, which seems so strange to say, given the fact that they've taken so much lately, that it's only 600 gold.
Yeah, typically it's not too common that you end up winning a fight for Soul and then also getting Baron and being down in gold because of it. It's not usually you know, a sentence that we have to worry about, but that's just how back and forth this game has been. Still about a 3k gold swing so far. 1 minute left on this Baron power. So we will see how that ends up working out for Ultra Prime. They have been able to push through quite a bit, but topside is going to be what looks like their last destination here. In fact, it's actually going to be mid lane. They're looking to set a trap here for potentially Zika.
You mentioned the last destination. It could be one of these players' final destination. Let's see if OVO walks up a little too far. At least put the pink down, so I had an idea that something fishy was afoot. It will try to get some damage on Zika, but, I mean, this guy just doesn't take any damage at all right now. He is going to get knocked up. They're going to throw everything they can at him. They take the turret, and it doesn't matter how little damage you take.
He's still alive.
He does manage to find a way out, though. Curtain call coming through. Yeah, it's not doing a whole lot, buddy. Even that fourth shot didn't even hit the minions coming in. It just hit that one cannon.
Kind of the last hurrah to end the game on the Baron there, but Poppy is very tanky. Like, this is a champion that you are not going to kill particularly easily. It's going to take quite a lot of time to break through that, so I understand why you go for it if you're Ultra Prime, but no surprise that Zika ends up surviving the exchange. But even with that Baron, you know, fading off and, you know, moving to the back, we have a 3-minute timer on some major objectives, 2 minutes on Elder, which is really the big one here, because as much as we talk about Ultra Prime having soul and being in this great spot, any fight can be won here by LNG. They're really not all that far down in gold, and gold is starting to get to the point in the game where, you know, all of your main carries are hitting some pretty big item break points no matter what. So, you know, if one Elder fight can go the way of LNG, that is their way back into this game. That is their way to win it, quite frankly. So we will see what the setups end up being. The next 2 minutes are going to matter a lot.
Yeah, and one thing that we really haven't seen is a big keeper's verdict out of Zika, right? Like, we haven't really seen a fight show up and he goes and he knocks 2 people out of the fight and he turns it into a 5v3. That could happen at any time. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it won't. Ultra Prime have to be very aware of it. They played around it very well at that Otacon fight, even though, yeah, things didn't go their way in the end. But, you know, I just wonder. He's done so well this game, being very tanky, hitting some of the correct targets, charging them into the wall. He's going to have to take over on Poppy, that's the only way you can do it, Kman.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. If that keeper's verdict lands on the right target, you could be looking at even just the smallest 4v5 window that LNG can take advantage of. Even, you know, worse than that, you could pop Junhao out of the Elder Pit. That would be obviously the dream there in terms of how things end up working out. But Ultra Prime, of course, going to have setups here. So theoretically, they should have full vision control and everything they want when it comes to this Elder setup. 30 seconds on the Dragon spawning. Saber's just going to be on the bot side, potentially looking for someone, you know, that could be over-aggressing to catch the wave. Not going to find anyone right now, but it is technically a 4v5 in the mid lane if LNG want to take this.
Well, they're hitting Jiang. They're not doing a whole lot, but they're hitting him. I mean, Fish 1 is starting to hurt a little bit. He does have Infinity Edge. He does have Lord Doms. He's got the curtain call too, and he's going to fire away. Teleport is coming in, but it could be a little late here. Zika in the thick of things, just trying to survive here. It looks like there will be no more fighting for right now, but Elder Dragon up and right now, actually. Zika missing about 33% of his HP. We'll call it maybe 40%. So the teleport available. He's charging up this keeper's verdict. He's going to knock away multiple members of the fight, but they can't find an engage. Saber's on the backside here. This Dragon is still too healthy. Saber's just going in. He's 1v5. Junhao, the nice follow-up there, knocking up everybody. Here we go. They're looking to end the game right now. Saber, though, takes a lot of damage. He's on top of Xiaofang. He goes down. Haichao, the next target. He flashes over the wall, and Ultra Prime will not chase. The question is, will they turn onto the Dragon with their low health bars?
Oh, this is so risky. You have no smite on either side here for Ultra Prime. They don't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on the Dragon. They're just going to back. Oh, all of that dancing, all of that posturing, how close that fight was just to do it again in a minute or so. Teleports coming in. They want to make sure they're out on the map here, but this is a very tense situation. The Keeper's Verdict's coming down. This looks like it's going to be big because it knocks out the 2 primary tanks on the front line for Ultra Prime. But unfortunately, because Baiye is so well positioned and his ability to get out is so strong, no real capitalization to be had here. Once Junhao and Saber end up committing, they're only able to trap the Nautilus and the Poppy, which makes it very difficult for them to get on Jin. And from this point onwards, with Saber dashing in, he's able to do a ton of damage, but the flash out from Fish 1 keeps him alive. Haichao trying to turn things around, but just doesn't have the damage on the Silas. It's a very tense fight. Look at the gold difference. It's a 400, 500 gold difference here.
It's absolutely nothing. And wait a minute, hold on. Baiye's
dead?
Baiye's dead for 35 seconds. LNG have a man advantage. We're seeing it teleport into the mid lane by Haichao. Take a look at this replay as we have the picture-in-picture. He just tries with the culling, and yeah, he just goes way too far. He gets hit with a 4th shot in a Q. He just dies.
What a mistake.
Oh, that's so huge. All right, let's see if Junhao has it in him to be able to steal this one away. Saber positioning himself very carefully, wants to get on top of Fish One here. Leona gets knocked into the fight. It's going to be a 5v3. They're going to turn on to Saber, and they blow him up. They blow him up, Kman, and they stop Junhao from getting out, and they turn on him. Who's going to go? It's stolen away! It's stolen away! And a member is blasted away by the Dragon's Breath. But they do manage to find 3. A 3-for-1 for LNG, but they do not get the Elder Dragon.
Oh my god, what a game, Yanni. We were laughing, we were talking about the gameplay. This is a certified banger here in game number 3 between these two teams. LNG picks up a huge team fight win, and with those death timers, they are pushing not just to break the base open, they could be pushing for game right now.
All right, can you hold the line, Baiye and XiaoXia? Baiye, you messed up last time. And this is why you're in the position you're in. Is culling is only going to really hit the wave. It's not going to do too much more. This turret is under siege,
Elder execute.
But you do have Elder. Baiye has GA as well. There's one. There's 2. He gets caught, but the GA is popped. Now, can XiaoXia keep them there is the question. Haichao will be able to dash out. And Ultra Prime's bot lane hold the line.
Oh, Baiye makes the game-losing play in the mid lane, overextending and dying to the Jhin, and he makes the game-saving play in base by being able to push out with the Elder buff, and now we're getting a teleport coming in from Jung. They might be pushing down mid lane with death timers now.
Yeah, I think they're trying to go coast-to-coast here, Kman. We've seen a couple of coast-to-coast games here in the LPL all year long, and it looks like they're going to go for a curtain call coming out. They got to protect the minions. They are able to at least keep one of them upright. They do have another line of minions coming in as the middle turret will fall. Haichao does have the stolen Akali ultimate. It's a 5v3, 10 seconds on Xiaofang, 13 on Zika, big knockups coming through. And oh, Fish One stays alive. Going golden is Saber, trying to stay alive here, but guess what? The numbers game caught up to LNG. Here comes Xiaofang. Zika's up in 1 second, but this turret is low. The turret goes down, they knock away 2. They knock away 2. Can they do this? Fish One, 4th shot, doesn't do enough. Nexus at half, Nexus at 25%, and they end the game. Ultra Prime muscle their way in and take down the Nexus and take the series 2-1.
Oh my goodness. What an end to game number 3. What a game in general. You want to talk about back and forth action. We just got an absolute banger between 2 of our lower ranked teams in the LPL playing for their lives in Group Nirvana. You couldn't afford to lose this. LNG looked like they had it in the bag. They win the pivotal Elder fight, but that Elder steal from Junhao ends up being the critical play because the executes in base end up salvaging everything for Ultra Prime. And they end up picking up the series win and moving into 4th place in Group Nirvana. It's not just a big win in the moment, it's a big win for the standings.
Oh my goodness, bro. What a game. This game was crazy. Wow. I mean, Ultra Prime earned every bit of it. It wasn't pretty. There were some times where it was okay, but it was pretty ugly, man. And we knew going in that we might see a series like this, Kman. And you know what? It did not disappoint. The worst part is when there's an ugly series and it's like, oh, well, you know, it's just 2 really bad games, or it wasn't really that back and forth. There was one really good game. Now, we had a lot of back and forth action in these games, and capping it off the way they did, chef's kiss.
Are you not entertained? I mean,
I'm entertained.
This is exactly what Group Nirvana brings. This is the chaotic, undisciplined, unapologetically, up and down action that Group Nirvana always brings, and I think this was the best example of that. But the consequences, like I said, of this are far-reaching. This is a very important outcome for Ultra Prime, and with so much on the line for a lot of these players to step up in big moments, I kind of said it a little bit before game number 2, and really kind of talked about it, in a couple of other series, and we've talked about it a lot on the broadcast, but Ultra Prime not known as an organization for being the most clutch and stepping up when they need to the most. This is a great showcase that hopefully this is a new batch of players that can come in and maybe change that reputation.
Hoping so. And, when you talk about a new batch of players, I mean, you really aren't kidding when you say that, right? All of these guys are really young players, moldable. Junhao, Saber, these are guys that have, we're wondering, is this a successful first year for guys like this? And I think that if you're able to finish in top 4 in Nirvana, and you're able to at least go and contend once again and get some more playoff experience under your belt, you could consider 2025 a fairly successful year.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people had this team 16th going into the year. Like, there were quite a lot of analysts that were looking at this roster and saying, I don't really see it. They're bringing a couple players over from the PCS. You've got some internal promotions. You've got some, LDL prospects, but nothing really feels right, and Ultra Prime doesn't have the track record to back that up. They could be in a much better spot than that right now. Not only were they not bottom 2 in spring, they were a team that almost made Group Ascend, but this could be a team that makes a play-in stage, and, I'm not saying you get anyone into a best of 5 and anything can happen, but the LPL is unpredictable. This is a team that has so many things going for them in so many positive directions that get them on a hot streak, get them some confidence. Anything can happen in terms of just, what works out, so.
Don't let them get hot. Listen.
Don't let them get hot.
All I'm saying is right now, if the season ended today, Ultra Prime would be taking on anyone's legend. Now, typically, I'd be like, oh man, one-sided stop. Anyone's legend is 2 and 4. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying, because like the Ultra Prime would totally lose to
definitely
legend, but,
definitely lose.
But hey, listen, let's take a look at this replay here. Oh man, what a crazy. The craziest part is this might. How close are we? 1550.
1550.
So it was just a guess, bro. That screw it. Somebody's gonna smite. Somebody's gonna hit an ability, and it's so crazy that we're like, oh, they stole it away, but it doesn't matter. They lose the fight. Well, because he stole it away, Baiye was able to say, I made a mistake. I put the game in danger. I put the game away. All right.
I thought it was over, man. I genuinely thought he had lost the game.
Nope. But Lucian, too good, man. That's why I love this champion. I really don't want to give Baiye the MVP for that. Because my man really put himself in a bad spot. And his team in a bad spot. By just being needlessly over-aggressive. But he also saved the game. Sometimes you got to pick your MVP off saving the game. What do you think?
I think if you're going to use that as an argument, as much as I love the fact that Baiye was able to salvage the game in base, what salvaged the game was the Elder. That really is what ended up keeping things possible. I'm not sure they're able to break through that Poppy without the Execute. I think that ended up being really important in the base, and so, that if that's kind of your definition, maybe not as much Baiye. Even this fight that we talked about a bit earlier, this was already such a good fight overall for both of these teams to kind of talk about. Xiaofang started getting those resets, and what an interrupt here by OVO.
That was beautiful.
By the way, OVO made some awesome plays in some of these team fights on this Nautilus. He looked really comfortable on the champion. I'm really interested to see that moving forward. Not quite enough to be able to get his team the win, but this was the play where I was like, oh, they threw. They completely threw the game away. Like, it's over now. They peel off the Otacon and go for a fight that they instantly lose around Otacon and Baron, and it's toast. It's not doable, but
poor Baiye,
luckily
man.
They were able to respond.
Otacon was just beating the tar out of him, and then his teammate dies, so he immediately eats a curtain call shot. Like, that dude never stood a chance on the backside. Tough.
Tough indeed. Tough to be an AD carry when the rest of your team is just diving in and leaving you alone. Fish1 knew quite a bit about that in this game on the Jhin as well, especially early on. But
he was a little escape artist this game, was Fish1.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these fights. I mean, yeah, he's got to burn flash here, but 4th shot, too, to get Saber really low. Like, sure, nothing really comes of it, but, like, really squeezing as much damage as you can out before you leave the fight is the hallmark of, like, a really good AD carry. And I'm not trying to say that, like, Fish1 is a really good AD carry, because we've seen a lot of bad plays out of Fish1, but, like, stuff like that is, like, actually quite encouraging. That it's like, okay, this guy can play this role at least a Group Nirvana level.
And, for what it's worth when it comes to Fish1, he is being thrust into this position mid-split, really without any sort of preparation. He's having to completely learn how to play with new players, and this team was already a dysfunctional disaster before he joined. Like, it's a really terrible situation for a rookie AD carry to come into, because it's so hard to completely change the outlook of a team from that spot. But I do think he had a couple of great curtain calls at the end of this game. They just weren't quite enough. Again, it looked like he might be able to do enough damage. That Zhonya's coming in from Saber was absolutely massive, because I think if they're able to, delay that at least a little bit, perhaps you have a little bit more combat power to let Zika respawn. So, You know, it all just ends up adding up to, you know, Ultra Prime being in the perfect position to take this game. And despite the damage coming in on these carries at the end, they have enough of their health bar left to take the Nexus.
Oh, so crazy, man. Casante's a hell of a champion. He's so tanky, man. I mean, he is a tank. It's what he's supposed to do. But, I mean, that just feels so bad when you hit him with the 4th shot and it just does nothing. You're like, yep, I'm playing an 80 carry against a tank. It's just how it goes. And even if you kill him there, I mean, like, it's not going to change anything. Like, you're still losing that game. But what a crazy game coming out of Group Nirvana. And this is why, listen, this particular last game wasn't exactly why we were excited for the series, but it was a series that we thought was really only going to be a series where Ultra Prime could really do something, or LNG would drag them down to the muck. And, you know, we were pleasantly surprised given a series where either of these teams could have done something. Ethical MVP, because of what you said, it's Junhao getting the credit. Played some of these other fights really well too. I mean, he did certainly earn this MVP this game.
I think it's worth pointing out that this might be a little bit of recompense for Game 2 as well. That we
know,
might be
really,
making up for
it really
some,
is.
You know, some Xin Zhao non-love that he received in that second game. But I always love when you see, you know, MVP, player of the game, Junhao, was down a 1,500 gold at the end of the game. Like, that's always a little bit of a funny stat that he was in that position. But you're right, he made the big plays. And honestly, throughout this entire game, I thought the Cataclysms were great. I thought his ability to dive on the backline and consistently be able to catch out targets, burn summoner spells was huge. The only real major mistake he made was pulling off of the Otacon. And while that was an egregious error, it, you know, it ended up being fine. It ended up working out for him in the long run.
They still won.
So, yeah, they still won the game. Who really cares? So, you know,
I don't know if I call
it
working out in the long run. That was a...
Yeah.
That's not the choice of words I would use, Kman.
Hey, you know, the long run is the game, and, you know,
I love how the highlights show him trying to flag and drag out. Oddly enough, he tries to flag and drag out. OVO keeps him in with the knockup. So then he says, well, I have to go in now. Oh, I guess I have to smite away this Elder Dragon and win the games. Honestly, OVO with this play improves to 4-1, just personally, though, because he definitely won the game there, just not for his team.
Yeah,
unintentional.
I mean,
very unintentional. But
indeed.
Just funny. That's the thing about League of Legends. Sometimes it's just funny how that stuff works. You know what the good news is about League of Legends? There's a lot of League of Legends to be played. There's even more League of Legends to be played tonight. Anyone's Legend FPX will be coming at you right after this break that we really need to take.